The central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, is a happy man this week, and the reason for his happiness is not far-fetched. On Monday, May 22nd, the largest single-train petroleum refinery ever built in the world that will be a game-changer in Nigeria's economic industrial landscape was commissioned in Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos State. The 650,000 barrels per day capacity greenfield refinery is able to meet all of Nigeria's domestic fuel consumption needs, putting an end to perennial fuel scarcity, and have the rest exported to earn foreign exchange for the country. Not only that, the refinery will provide raw materials for local manufacturers in the plastics, pharmaceuticals, constructions, cosmetics, textile and packaging industries, and generate massive employment directly and down the value chain for Nigerians young and not too young. In this episode, we'll tell you more about this historic event, its significance to the Nigerian economy, and why we all should be happy over this, plus the outcomes of the CBN Monetary Policy Committee May meetings held in Abuja on Tuesday and Wednesday. All in a moment. Stay with us.
Oh, I see. Just hold on. In that case, let me call out my PIN. It is 41...
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes, hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, Uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of.
Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details.
If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Last year alone, the importation of petroleum products, fertilizer, and petrochemicals drained more than $26 billion in Forex. This has been a major worry for the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Apex Bank has been working assiduously with critical sectors of the economy to attain self-sufficiency in products that can be produced locally and support exports for foreign exchange earnings. So, to the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, and his team, the commissioning of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals Complex in Ibeju-Lekki area of Lagos State on Monday, May the 22nd by President Muhammadu Buhari was more than just an event. It was a success story of the Apex Bank's unwavering commitment and support towards rebalancing the economy and putting Nigeria on a growth trajectory. Presence of the presidents of Ghana, Togo, Senegal, Niger, and representative of the Chadian president, alongside members of the diplomatic community, Nigeria's political heavyweights, first-class traditional rulers, foremost industrialists, top government officials, and bank chiefs at the commissioning last Monday discussed the pivotal role that the project is expected to play in Nigeria and on the African continent going forward. Africa's richest man and president of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, who confessed that the journey was long and difficult and at times felt like giving up on the project, save for the encouragement of President Buhari, also noted that 53 out of the 55 countries in Africa depend on imports to meet their petroleum products demand. This offers huge opportunity, more so with the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. He enumerated the immediate benefits of the petroleum refinery and petrochemicals to the economy and to Nigerians, thanking the Central Bank of Nigeria under the leadership of Mr. Godwin Emefiele for making the dream a reality.
Let me now briefly touch on the immediate benefits of today's commissioning that will bring to our economy and our people. First, beyond the constant availability of a high quality fuels for our transportation sector, the refinery will also make available to our industries vital raw materials for a wide range of manufacturers in the plastics, pharmaceuticals, food, beverages, packaging, construction, and many other industries. Second, while the refinery operation and ancillary businesses will generate massive job opportunities, the downstream value chain will equally provide far more absorptive capacity for labor in the hundreds of thousands. Third, once our plant is fully commissioned and it is on stream, we expect that at least 40% of the capacity will be available for export, and this will result in significant foreign exchange earning into the country. Overall, we are committed to operating our plant in line with international best practice. Recognizing the importance of protecting the environment, we have adopted stringent environmental health and safety policies to ensure that the refinery operates in a safe and sustainable manner. The journey to this event was long and arduous. It could not have been possible without the support and collaboration of many parties and individuals. Let me start with Your Excellency, Mr. President. Your sustained support and encouragement over the past 8 years have been, and for me personally, a source of great motivation and strength. At times, when I felt like really giving up, your confidence and quiet words of assurance have been the difference. As in most mega projects, financing has been a source of many significant changes. Governor Emefiele's belief in and commitment to this project has been awesome. Without Governor Emefiele's courageous support and backing, this project would not have stood a chance of successful completion. Governor Emefiele moved mountains to ensure the success of this project. Indeed, apart from the top management of the refinery itself, no one in this gathering has visited this site more than Governor Emefiele. So we are indeed very, very grateful.
Visibly elated, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele, delivering his goodwill remarks, recalled the pessimism of foreigners on Nigeria's economic outlook and their expression of doubt when told about efforts by the country to take charge of its fortune, diversify its economic base through import substitution and export-promoting strategies to sustainably attain self-sufficiency, adding that the foreign investors even doubted the ability to succeed with this gigantic Dangote refinery and petrochemicals project when the idea was shared with them.
I could appreciate their skepticism because they do not understand how a single individual, a man like Dangote, could build a refinery capable of serving an entire nation and continent. To them, our foreign friends, projects of this magnitude are usually only undertaken by sovereigns, not individuals. The self-sufficiency in refined petroleum, urea, and polypropylene, which Nigeria has attained with this project, is a strong testament to our leadership, dedication, and focus and commitment. More importantly, this project avails Nigeria with significant savings, both in terms of foreign exchange and in easing the fiscal burden of our federal government. Available data at Central Bank of Nigeria as of 2014 shows that at least 30% of the foreign exchange required to meet Nigeria's import needs went into the importation of refined petroleum products. It is instructive to note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that according to the balance of payment statistics, the cost, including the freight, of petroleum products imports into Nigeria doubled over a 5-year period from about $8.4 billion in 2017 to $16.2 billion, including an annual average of $11 billion, before rising further to $23.3 billion at the end of 2022. At this rate, the average annual cost of petroleum products import to Nigeria could reach $30 billion by 2027 if we continue to rely on petroleum imports. These figures, Your Excellencies, suggest that the refinery could engender foreign exchange savings to our country of between $25 and $13 billion annually. Aside from the nearly $30 billion foreign exchange savings from the reduction in petroleum products, the economy is projected to benefit an extra $10 billion of foreign exchange inflow annually through the export of refined products. This project will equally provide support to our federal government in its fiscal operation, as it could help to ease budget constraints of funding petroleum subsidy and engender fiscal savings. Your Excellencies, Dangote Refinery is a blessing to Nigeria and Africa as a whole, given the favorable spillovers from this project are able to expected to spread from Nigeria to other parts of the world. It is in this regard, Your Excellencies, and consistent with federal government drive to diversify the economy, that the Central Bank of Nigeria, through its various development finance intervention, has continued to support critical sectors of our economy to promote a homegrown rebalancing of our economy and foremost self-sufficiency. For instance, in the last 7 years, the CBN has injected over 8 trillion naira to support in different sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, health, education, just to mention a few.
President Muhammadu Buhari described the project as a notable milestone for Nigeria's economy and a game changer for the downstream petroleum products market, not only in the country but the entire continent of Africa.
Our economy, which has been stressed for many decades by huge deficits in economic infrastructure and over a decade of insurgency, has also been severely impacted by several external crises, including the global financial crisis, the collapse of oil prices, the coronavirus pandemic, and the Russia-Ukraine war. The consequences of these challenges constitute a severe strain on our economy, limiting government's ability to provide basic infrastructure without resorting to huge borrowings. Our government, therefore, took the decision to focus attention on creating an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive and fill the enormous gap in investments, not only in infrastructure, but also in all critical sectors. We recognize that without active participation of the private sector and a strong commitment to public-private partnership, our economy would continue to remain severely challenged and our economic growth impeded. Government, therefore, will and should continue to provide an enabling environment and encourage innovative public-private partnership in all sectors of our economy.
Many people know that petrol and diesel used to power our vehicles, electricity generating certain heavy equipment come from crude oil. Kerosene for household use, jet fuel for aircrafts, and liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) generally used for cooking are also derived from crude oil. But many people might be surprised to learn that crude oil is used to make everyday products such as lipsticks, guitar strings, toothbrushes, toothpaste, toys, clothing materials, solar panels, hair extensions, chewing gums, candles, hand cream, all plastic products, tires, and a host of others. In order to fully comprehend the significance of a 650,000 barrels per day capacity single-train petroleum refinery to the economy, let us ask the question, what's in a barrel of crude oil? A barrel of crude oil is equivalent to 159 liters of liquid and contains 35.8% of petrol, 25.9% of diesel, 22.2% of waxes, lubricants and polishes, 5% of marine fuel, 4.7% jet fuel, 2.3% of asphalt for tar in road construction, and 4.1% petrochemical feedstocks, which is the chemical used to make consumer products ranging from test tubes to toys. But that's not all. Let's see some everyday items that are petroleum byproducts and the quantity that can be produced from a single barrel of crude oil. This include 39 pieces of polyester shirts, 750 pocket combs, 540 toothbrushes, 65 plastic dustpans, 23 hula hoops, 65 plastic drinking cups, 195 one-cup measuring cups, 11 plastic telephone housing, and 135 4-inch rubber balls. Those are just few of the things that can be derived from a barrel of crude oil after processing and getting out all the different kinds of fuel and gas that we use for transportation, power, cooking, etc. Now multiply those quantities by 650,000 barrels of crude, which is the daily capacity of the Dangote Refinery, and then one can appreciate how economically beneficial it will be to all the industries that use petroleum-based raw materials, who will be able to source for the raw materials locally and save the country some more Forex that otherwise would have gone into importation. It is indeed a game changer.
Nigeria is a rich nation of green land, rich resources, countless crops and commodities sufficient to feed and provide a means of livelihood for her teeming population. Chin up, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Exciting times are here. We can be self-reliant and grow our economy if we work together to explore our potential. It takes a whole nation. Let us get involved. Buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Thank you for staying tuned. You're watching From the CBN, a weekly program that brings to you reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, events, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Still confronted with persisting and emerging risks to both the global and domestic economies, the CBN Monetary Policy Committee met for the third time this year on Tuesday and Wednesday at the bank's headquarters, Abuja. Fear of the U.S. banking crisis contagion, ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, and growing tensions between China and the U.S. remain key risks on the global scene, as well as volatility of the international oil market. In the domestic economy, the major risks identified include high public debt, high inflation, declining oil production, and moderate recovery of output growth. 11 members of the MPC in attendance at the meeting assessed this development and the outlook for the rest of the year. The committee noted the persisting uptick in headline inflation, which according to the National Bureau of Statistics rose year-on-year to 22.22% in April from 22.04% in March. The recent uptick was said to be driven largely by increase in both food and core components, which rose moderately to 24.61% and 20.14% in April from 24.45% and 19.86% respectively in March.
Available data and forecasts for key macroeconomic indicators in the Nigerian economy suggest that the economy will continue a moderate recovery path through 2023 as legacy headwinds linger. These include insecurity in food-producing areas, high cost of energy, and rising cost of debt servicing. Accordingly, the economy is forecast to grow in 2023 by 3.03% CBN estimate, 3.75% Federal Government of Nigeria estimate, and 2.29% by the IMF estimate.
The MPC noted that the continued rise in headline inflation, albeit moderately, remained the biggest challenge confronting macroeconomic stability in Nigeria. In fact, empirical evidence provided showed that whereas inflation in April 2023 stood at 22.27%, the counterfactual evidence suggests that it could have risen to 30.48% in April 2023 had the MPC not taken any action to raise policy rates as it did since May last year. In its consideration as to whether to hold, loosen, or tighten, the MPC was of the view that hold or loosen options were not desirable at this time, given that a hold may compromise the bank's decision to tame the rising inflation, particularly when its in-house staff estimates have projected that headline inflation will continue to rise in the immediate months ahead before decelerating. Reviewing the arguments to further hike the policy rate in a bid to subdue aggregate demand, members noted that the current uptrend in inflationary pressure was driven by a combination of both demand and supply side issues. The MPC observed the continued upward risk to price development driven primarily by expectations of rising energy and food prices, unabating security challenges in food producing areas, as well as persistent exchange rate pressure. The committee thus felt it expedient to continue to address the demand side issues falling within the ambit of its policy tools. Members thus resolved by a unanimous vote to raise the MPR, but moderately. 10 members voted to raise the MPR by 50 basis points and 1 member by 25 basis points. All members voted to keep all parameters constant. In summary, the MPC voted 1. Raise the MPR to 18.5%, 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor of plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR, and 3. Retain the CRR at 32.5%, and 4. Retain the liquidity ratio at 30%.
That's all from the CBN this week. There'll be more from the MPC meeting press briefing in subsequent episode. Be careful not to fall for any fraudulent recruitment portal or loan scheme advertisements purportedly from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Get your information from trusted sources always. Report unresolved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department using the email cpd@cbn.gov.ng. Attach relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center on the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local queries may apply. Write to us through the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter for updates and to watch up-to-date episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am Oluyemisi Dada. Stay safe and bye for now.